What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 11 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Thorgrim Grudgebearer Old World campaign. So as we saw last time, the Karak 8 Peaks territory is pretty much ours at this point. Karak Yar remains and the hands of Skarsnik, but will fall shortly, and then the two territories currently held by the Scaven, and of course afterwards onward to Karaz-a-Karak. And yes, I'm aware, as you guys have pointed out in the comments, that we do have a special location of the Deeps and 8 Peaks itself, and well, we'll be building it rather shortly. In fact, I cancelled the Deeps building here so we can build it at the same time next turn instead. Oh, and frankly, alright, I think I decided last episode that it might not actually save us sufficient amounts in terms of switching to Masters of Steel and Stone, so we're not gonna. Anyway, in addition to that, we have Thorik now on the field, the Traditionalist, and he's obviously going to be our Grudge Thrower-centric army, which should be pretty neat. In fact, before I forget, let's get you one of the Grudge Settler Grudge Throwers. I'm hoping that the Rune of Seeking that Thorik provides these guys does not interfere with the monstrous impact and the sort of split shot shrapnel nature of these particular units, as that would be unfortunate. Anyway, he's going to be Quarrelers, but a little bit more Grudge Thrower focused than I think I would otherwise be, since we already have a Quarreler focused army in Grimly Quarrel Seeker. And actually, speaking of Thorik, you are going to move on into Mount Crag here.
Already done.
Like so, a close victory and casualties low. We'll put the Banner of Swiftness on Thorik himself. Too bad that he doesn't have another Master Rune of speed, as it would be nice to have a fast Thorik. Just, I'm thinking of like, I don't know, like turtle races or something, and just put Thorik versus Thorgrim, one on the Anvil of Doom and then one on his throne, and then see whose shield bearers will carry them into a battle better. I'm gonna get such a grudging for this, but anyway, we'll do this fight in a sec. I guess since we're gonna do this fight against Tzeentch this particular turn, maybe we can then forego doing this fight this turn and instead pop Morgus into ambush stance and try to see if we can't catch Raguk Badax before he moves on. And we'll use Mr. Snorri Morgrimel as bait then, by moving him in. Most likely we'll actually use him to command this army, at least for a little while. I still think that maybe we should switch this to an Overseer. I know I keep bouncing between the different ideas, but we can always sort of slayer up this army and then peel it off into a different army later on. Anyway, for now, you're going to grab one of these miners because we need space in the army, and then we're going to pop a Braun Can Doom. Damn, can he Doom. Pop into this army. We'll have one Runesmith, one Fithane, and we'll definitely need Engineer. At least one, maybe two, and then probably, actually no, probably about it, gonna have a Demon Slayer because or Dragon Slayer rather, because we need to have a Slayer command the Goblin Heroes. Anyway, I think that's it for what we gotta do this turn, unless I'm mistaken. Yes, looking good everywhere. Who's Thungni of Zorn again? Oh, right, one of the Confederated armies, which is why I don't remember you. Okay, you could just sit up there because Thorik's going to move up there, and then we'll transfer units to make Thorik his complete army afterwards. And I think that's it. Alrighty, we're going to pop on in, though before we do, the engagement threshold has been reached, and thus this is going to be a longer episode, and similarly, the engagement threshold remains. 400 likes, 60 comments, and the next episode will be an hour long as well. 3 more episodes to go, I think, as on the 13th, that's when we lower the engagement threshold again, and I'm still willing to do the double episode streak for the weekend, and to those of you who have actually caught up, we shall see. Anyway, that should be a pretty fun fight. We haven't fought Tzeentchans, and that'll be a bit of a preview prelude to fighting Kairos, because we have to book it to wipe him out. Go. Alright, here we go. Thorik's first battle, his debut. We're gonna see how well he does here. Oh, and I note the shield bearer's armor here is very similar to Longbeard armor rather than Ironbreaker armor, so we could potentially have Longbeards to go along with Thorgrim rather than the Ironbreakers here and just pop him into a different army. Certainly a possibility since he won't buff them in any way as he has no intention of getting Grimnir's heirs. Anyway, yeah, this is gonna be a fun fight. We got a nice hill position with our Iron Drakes and our units of Quarrelers to fire down on the enemy below and into the gaps, but of course the difficulty is going to be the just ludicrous pile of Chaos spawn that the enemy has, though admittedly it's almost like a themed army, which I gotta appreciate. Credit where it's due. But more importantly, once again, the taste of our own medicine, the enemy units of Flamers of Tzeentch we'll be facing off against our own units, and I think, unless I'm mistaken, the regular Iron Drake's Flamers are outranged by the Flamers of Tzeentch. We got 81 range on regular Iron Drakes, and something is reducing it, and these guys have 100, so yeah, slightly more range. If they were to have the entrenched ability, then they would be in a better place, but in this army they don't, so we're going to have to work for this. Alrighty, and the Chaos Knights have moved on in and are going to be held back by a pile of miners and dwarf warriors here, but they are not the only things that have arrived. Piles and piles of Chaos spawners smashing into our lines, though fortunately Thorik and his Ironbreakers will be able to defend decently. That said, we don't have any additional units to deal with the enemy Flamers at this time. They're going to start frying a few of our units of Longbeard's great weapons. Going to try to avoid them a little bit, but probably a non-starter there. I'm going to have to try to destroy them with range fire, which means in this particular case, that's the Quarrelers. Similar thing happening on our left flank as half of the HP of the Dwarf Warriors, despite the additional missile resistance offered by the shield wall stance. Not really doing anything to help against the Flamers of Tzeentch, who and a couple more volleys will make sure that that unit runs away. On the bright side, it seems that the Flamers, our own Flamers, our Iron Drakes, are just as effective against Chaos spawn as they are pretty much against anything else, as the Chaos spawn are starting to melt away. And hopefully the enemy Flamers of Tzeentch will follow suit shortly, down to about half HP at the current time. Our Grudge Throwers are chucking those stones at the enemy Pink Horrors, but not a particularly good matchup, as the Pink Horrors have an extremely loose formation, and thus are not liable to take a lot of damage from the Grudge Throwers. Chaos Knights and Chaos Spawn are still fighting, but still not able to break through, and that means our Iron Drakes and our Quarrelers are still able to do damage. First of the enemy units of Flamers is out, second one's down to about half HP, though it looks like in the some small amount of time they had to recover, their barrier has started to be put back up. On the bright side, though, the bounce power has shifted to about 60-65% in our favor. Thorik has moved towards the enemy and is actually trying to go after the enemy Herald in here. But a few of the enemy Pink Horrors are getting in the way. That's alright, though. He can sit on that anvil of doom of his and whack away at them with his rune hammer. And hopefully he has that, well, hopefully we can cause some miscasts to the enemy. Anyway, looks like we have managed to see off most of the enemy melee units. The Flamers have finally melted away under fire from our Quarrelers, while our own fire is now melting those Pink Horrors. They may have been born of flames themselves, but they don't like the clean alchemical fire of the Dwarfs. And by the looks of it, actually, I'm just curious. Do they have any? They don't have any innate fire resistance either, so fire is just effective against them. Oh well, isn't that lovely? Not so much for the Pink Horrors. Anyway, looks like Thorik is still trying to go after, actually, well, was trying to go after the Iridescent Horror. But said horror has been destroyed. We now can use our Flamers to make sure that the Chaos Knights are unable to achieve anything, and it looks like they're going to be seen off. That said, we're going to make sure that they don't rally yet again, and we're going to pop the Overcast Rune of Master Rune of Slowness on them, slowing them down to a mere 22 speed, and thus unable to escape from Coral, from Blasting Charge, and from Flame. Otherwise, it looks like with that, the last of the enemy units will melt away, and the Cultist will run, having seen the demons that he probably worked so hard to summon all destroyed or banished. A nice debut for Thorik. Ooh, all right, there we go. A pretty tough fight and a close victory. Nice debut for Thorik, actually having to work for his win. Got a little bit of a taste of our own medicine as we took the Warp Fire from the Flamers of Tzeentch, 14k damage and 11k damage on the two of them. Not quite matching our clean, non-Warp Fire of the Iron Drakes. Still alchemical fire, I guess, but nonetheless. Anyway, yeah, they were able to, I think, force 2 Dwarf Warrior units to rout and nearly destroy the unit of Longbeards. Fortunately, they didn't lose too many models, but their HP was in a horrible state. And by the end of the battle, also, obviously, the Grudge Throwers are going to be a lot less effective against the Tzeentchian faction as compared to other factions, which may keep Thorik in a pretty interesting position as he fights Kairos. I like it. I like it a lot. Anyway, close victory, yes. Do we need to do anything here? Oh, actually, we do need to do something, but not related to this. We'll occupy the place, and let's see what we got here. Ah, damn, I was hoping for an engineer location. Don't need the mustering hall, and... oh, actually. That's a question. Wait, we had a mustering hall here in Karak-Vrag. We can delete this in favor of getting the public order building. I think probably going to be a better use of our points. And Guildmaster for Hargrim Brightaxe. I don't know who that is, but good job. Yeah, okay, so there's 2 things that we need to do here. First of all, Thorik, you're going to leave this place. And you, Gautry Holdfast, are going to move here. We are... I don't particularly like either of these things. This one's okay. This one makes some tank here, but I think we'll get rid of this guy, Hargrim. Oh, he got the Guildmaster, it's funny. We'll get rid of you until we can get another Traumac Thane. So you're gonna disband, and as soon as we get another Traumac Thane, we'll replace him, but we'll keep this one in this army for now. Again, until we get a Traumac Thane. It's just like I feel we need a Thane in this army. Is there something that we want to get rid of here? The Dwarf Warriors can be turned into additional Quarrelers, or actually additional Grudge Throwers, possibly. Well, really anything, because they're Dwarf Warriors. Base sort of version. I guess we'll get rid of one of the Miners with Blasting Charges. I'd like to, at least for now, keep hold of these Iron Drakes. Decent likelihood we'll get rid of them eventually, or transfer them to another army. So, we'll let you go, Miners with Blasting Charges. And then we'll transfer all of the units under Thorik's current command to this guy. We'll also need to keep an eye on additional runesmiths. Specifically, we don't have them anymore. Oh, well, Banish actually is a decent option as well. But I think for Thorik, he had a runesmith already, didn't he? He had one that had Zaki. Zaki is good. Or maybe we'll have one with Zaki. The thing is, Thorik wants multiple runesmiths, A, and B, I think he's probably the perfect lord to have that sort of miscast situation happening, especially since he'll be fighting Kairos, and, well, that's who you want to miscast. Although, I feel like Kairos' miscast chance is going to be pretty low. But we'll give it a try, and we'll see if we can make it work. The thing we really desperately need is engineers, so we're gonna go not to the Great Book of Grudges, but to the Forge, and we're gonna go to the Decrees of the High King and grab the Trommel Hero Capacity +2 for all heroes. The expense is great, but it's never gonna get cheaper since now we have Thorik reducing it. And we really need lots of engineers and lots of armies, because they support so much of our stuff. Alright. I do wish that the various engineers could have different sort of weapon loadouts. I mean, I guess they do have 2, but even more weapon loadouts. Can't have too many weapon loadouts, right? Anyway, Thorik, oh, you got good stuff, but you're gonna have to reset yourself because... what the heck is this? AI. Reset your skill points, you'll be back, sir. Yes. Alrighty. Wounded, and then he'll be back to take command of his new army by the time that we get up here, and then we'll go after the Challenge Stone, hopefully trade it to the Western Provinces for one of these territories, because we'll want to complete Woe's End, which is going to be our province, and then we'll just ignore all of this for now to move northward and wipe out Kairos, because by then we'll be in a alliance with the Western Provinces, as there are a fair few Cathan units that would work nicely with our armies, similar to Imperial units, and we do have allies this time in this campaign, so we got to get that Allegiance Rising so we can get those units. Anyway, we have one more turn of this, so I think we'll wait until the Confederation is down to 2 turns and then pop off another quest to counteract the public order. rather than possibly waiting for another confederation, because I think our public order is going to be decent shortly in lots of places, so I think we're okay. Oh, Ziflin, you don't want to trade? They do not want to trade. That's so rude, Ziflin. Come on, come on. What are you doing? Anyway, let's actually take a look at this while we're at it. Bunch of these factions want to do stuff, but they don't. Also, Slaaneshi Giggle, but they don't want to do the stuff that we want to do. Also, Slaaneshi Giggle, but yeah, it's the trade agreements that we're looking for. So we're gonna wait on any of these additional alliances until we can get that going. Oh, we needed more. Alrighty, now, I think since we've set up the ambush stance, we'll give this a try. Let's see if we can make this happen. You guys, I think we already did the points assigning. I guess you can have at least the Rune of Wrath and Ruin and the Rune of Oath and Steel for this particular fight. Even if you are switched out to command a different army. Ooh, I would like to check the engineers. We don't have enough capacity for them right now, but I still would like to check what we have here in terms of options. Master Engineer. We do have the entrenched one, which we really need, but we need it for the north. We need it up here, which actually means we'll probably want to get a engineer structure here somewhere. We could get rid of the Thane structure. We will need a third army, but the Thane structure can only go up to tier 3 and is thus a waste in our main settlement. And we could get rid of it and replace it with an engineer structure, because both of these armies, well, both Grimbrindle and Grimly's armies need engineers, and we don't have an easy way to get them up here otherwise. I wonder if Malachi gives you the ability to recruit engineers everywhere, regardless of the presence of the engineer building. Also, just out of curiosity, the engineer building at tier 3 still gives us the hero capacity, so we don't necessarily need to put it in the main settlements. We could build it in minor settlements, however, since it does give us bonus research rate, it might still be better in major settlements. It's about the tier 5s don't give us the, increase the hero capacity by 2, because dwarfs have such a slow growth rate. Getting any settlement to, I mean, look, we have 80 growth. Getting any settlement to tier 5 is a big issue, and I feel like maybe they should be rewarded a little bit more for any settlements that actually do manage to make it up there, you know what I mean? But anyway, we'll get rid of this for now. Mustering Hall. And I'm just gonna hope we don't need more troops of various kinds here, because we'll have to rebuild it if that's the case. I guess at Karaz-a-Karak. Or one of these places, depending. Anyway, we'll skip, and then the turn. Yes, where can we get attacked? That's down here. And turn. Hey, the enemy failed to spot our ambush. Fantastic. That should be pretty good for the Goblin Hewers and manual Goblin Hewers, and yeah, generally speaking, I like it. I like it a lot. Let's see this army in ambush, and we don't need to quick save because it's not a settlement battle. Go. Alright, here we go in ambush. Certainly something new for the X-Storm army. Let's see how they do with this sort of thing. Obviously, the enemy does have a fair decent amount of fast movers in, so we are going to have to target those as best we can. Rangers with throwing axes and Goblin Hewers alike will be targeting the Boar Boys as the priority targets, followed by the Goblin Wolf Raiders, who are interspersed amongst them, and hopefully be able to knock down plenty of them before we close the distance and turn our units into melee. Way too used to seeing those colors on Belagar's army, but well, Belagar's gonna have plenty of Bugmans, and I'm not so sure that these guys will fit crazy well there, though admittedly they do have that marked by Ulthar ability, which would be nice for focusing enemies down. Anyway, loving seeing all of those Boar Boys dropping by axe rather than by quarrel. And the balance of power rapidly shifts to about 70% in our favor. The enemy's rear line has collapsed. We charge our single unit of Slayer's Grudge Settlers there. We've also deployed our single unit of Grudge Throwers all the way at the back in order to knock down the limited number of enemy range units that they have. Alrighty, and it looks like it's going to just devolve in a brawl where the main enemy force is. Looks like some black orcs are going to give chase to the miners here, but that's alright as we do have the a single unit of rangers with great weapons up above. I do want to point out that both the rangers and the goblin heroes have relatively, in fact not relatively, really low amount of ammunition, so we're definitely going to need one, probably two engineers to buff their ammo up to like reasonable degrees. At least so that they can continue to fire whenever they want to fire. Which may not always be the case, but for now it is. Anyway, miners and those units of our rangers that have gone into melee are holding off the tide of black orcs and biggins, and by the looks of it, squigs. And then we have turned to firing upon the, well, now boar boys and black orcs here with our rangers. And by the looks of it, this is working pretty well. This black orc unit started with full HP. And being held back by miners should be pretty darn embarrassing for black orcs. And those axes hitting them in the flanks and the back, and certainly doing good work. Plus causing them to bleed, which they probably ain't too happy about. There we go. Very nice work from these rangers. 66 kills and 23,000 damage. It does seem to indicate that, you know, a unit that can actually hold enemies back for the rangers to actually fire away at them is kind of warranted in this army, but we're gonna see what we can do with that first, and then adjust as needed as this army sort of gets into its later stages. Anyway, with that, the black orcs break the boar boys, break the biggins, and the squigs follow suit, and with that, the battle is ours. A few more axes storm into the backs of those runners, and by the looks of it, this particular unit will be brought down. Probably the same thing for several other units as well. Very nice. And of course, our goblin heroes got to expend most of their ammunition and thus join the fight again in the melee, as they've been doing. Pretty fun. Ooh, we got a potion of healing out of that. Very nice. And just generally speaking, a very nice fight. You know, I gotta say, I'm really enjoying the Axe Storm army. I never thought I'd say that so much about the Rangers with great weapons, but I think the Goblin Hewers definitely complete them. They allow to obliterate enemy units of cav and larger units that would otherwise menace the front lines of Rangers with great weapons. Plus, of course, they have that nice aspect to them, whereas with normal artillery, if you're getting charged by stuff, you are greatly concerned, whereas with the Goblin Hewers, if they're getting charged by cav or anything else, it's more like, oh, you're approaching me, and yeah, it worked out pretty nicely. Anyway, we're gonna take the money. 2,000 gold, we're gonna need it. We're about to build 2 deeps in 2 places, so why not? Alright, Karaz-a-Karak one I found somewhere, but most likely too far away from us to be a concern. Ally mission successful from the Urson Revivalists, and Potion of Healing from Morgus Death Dealer. Okay, you're not going to use that. That'll go to a Legendary Lord first, and whether it be a regular or a Community Canon Legend. Creator, and let's just see. Aha, new mission. Kill Maggot. Kill Scramworks Chosen. Worth more, but the question is, can we actually reach him in 1 round or bound? We want to... we want to first go to Karagrill because we want the reduction, so I don't know whether we'll have enough movement to be able to still reach us. Oh, Belagar! Looks like you've seen what the High King has done and you want to capitalize on it. No, sir. We're gonna take Karag for ourselves. It's just that Yar. Anyway, Urson Revivalist will go for Scramworks Chosen then, and he'll be scramming shortly. You! Oh, just to double check, we do have stonemasons on everybody in this army? No, we do not. Okay, I'm glad I checked. I thought that we did. You know what, you can have a guildmaster while you're at it. I forgot that I had taken off that guildmaster earlier. Do you, Garagrim, have a stonemason? Yeah, you do. I think everybody else does, so we're okay. Then, we will build the deep structure here for... We can't do it right now, can we? I keep forgetting that the deep structures cost 2 2 population surplus. Well, darn. Okay, I guess we can only build it here. Maybe I guess I didn't need to cancel it then. Whoops. Oh, well. The main thing is once this is constructed, that other one will cost 15% more. But at the end of the day, with Thorgrim there to reduce the cost, it isn't anything crazy, I hope. Anyway, in the meantime, we need other deeps things. Since we're not going for the income gain from surface Sylvan income, we're going for the repurposed counting room. We'll build that immediately. And we could start on the grand entrance hall, though it's a little bit expensive for what we've got going on right now, so maybe we wait. This will start construction. I'm tempted by it. We'll see if we have additional money remaining after the end turn. Ooh, I would also like to check. That's Thorik. I was like, what the heck? Looking at the lords as to which ones are available. Okay. Not what I was looking for right there. Well, let's check the heroes as well. Thanes, runesmiths are the same, master engineers. Oh, that's a new one, metal slinger. And we still need that entrenched one, but we gotta get it up north, and we just don't have that capability right now. Wait, actually... well, we already have entrenched on the Iron Drakes with Grudge Settlers for this particular army, so as long as we don't use regular Iron Drakes, we don't technically need it. And I was thinking we'd do another fire army, it's slightly different fire army than this one, but it'll be a little bit, so we can skip skip that engineer for now and get another engineer elsewhere later. Anyway, the heck? Frickin' Chaos Dwarf caravans. In Old World, it's really hard to chase them down since they're all over the place, and the distances. Anyway, Gromby, you're gonna move down here. Grimly, I guess you're gonna go into Valea's Will, or actually save us some cash. Go into well, no, go into Valea's Will. And then go right outside Forbidden Citadel. You, Rearguard Asgal, are moving back towards Kraka-Ormsmatek. And speaking of, we will want to build the engineer building here, which I think at the first tier isn't that expensive, so we can do that without losing too much in the way of cash. Might as well upgrade the Gorl Mine here as well. We'll do that and the Tinker's Den, and then once it reaches ability to go up to tier 3, then we'll switch out of High King's Tribute and then build up the Dwarf Keep here as well. Nice to be investing in our territories. Alright, next up, Thorgrim. Since you're not building that stuff, but well, I guess there's other stuff you can build here, or need to build here. Might as well start on that. Let's start with the Makazungor, obviously. Actually, between all the Makazungors and all of the 8 Peaks territories, it's looking like the places are gonna have a lot of bonus public order and stuff. Oh. Gonna be hard to get deeps here, isn't it? Because we want the Silver Tower as well. Huh. That's a question. Well, we'll build the Gorl Mine for now, and the Scrat Mine, and then we'll think about it. As one does. You can also build a construction site here to reduce the costs, and maybe even the trading depot? It's never going to get any cheaper after all. Let's do it. And then, yeah, it'll be tier 5 until we do that. This slot is going to the deeps, assuming that, well, I did want to get another Tinker's Den, but we also need mines. We're probably not going to recruit anybody here, so it's another Scrat Mine location. Alright. That place can make generally decent amounts of cash. Public order isn't great here, but that's a Confederation debuff. We'll allow it for 1 turn, and then we'll move on. Karag rather, is going to be on the menu next. And what do we have here? Close victory. Oh, right, we don't have the siege attack. Oh, that's going to get annoying. That's going to get quite annoying. I think we maybe need to put an artillery piece in his army, unless there's something we can get that fits with this, that will be able to give us a siege attack, or like a... well, I was about to say like a land ship, but that... Huh. Do thunder barges give you siege attacker? I don't imagine they do, but I feel like they should. Alright, you can't go here yet. Okay, so go right... I don't know, here is probably the shortest distance. I'm just gonna really hope that you can jump over this. You gotta deliver Thorgrim his stuff. I would like to take a look at thunder barges. They do give you siege attacker. Huh, go figure. I'm surprised Thorgrim doesn't have it. Okay, well, I wasn't going to give Thorgrim a thunder barge, but I guess he can have a command unit for his air corps. He'll have essentially 2 separate armies in one army. One, the single entities and the hammers, and then the other, the pretty solid air corps. Fine. It fits his theme better with what we're doing than than you know, getting an artillery piece or anything like that. Besides, the Thunderbarge is kind of like a mobile artillery piece anyway. Anyway. Maggot, do we need both armies to attack you? I think not. This army should be able to handle it. You're gonna move on in to the Idol of Zak Aloog, and you're gonna command the army in the attack. Like so, and ooh, although we have done this kind of battle before, if we move you in, we might be able to just auto-resolve it, because we're gonna have to split off to several locations after this anyway. We also have Black Gouge, but I think we may want to wait before attacking it. The thing is, ooh, also before I forget, you are going to switch to... Yeah, see, this is why I usually like to do things in order, because now I'm jumping all over the place and trying to remember who needs to do what. You, Dragon Slayer, are going to go here. And then you are going to jump down here, because we're going to want to transfer that Dragon Slayer to that other army. Joseph of Zorn, we are going to... Ooh. Okay, no dice. Yeah, actually, you might be able to get close enough without swapping. And then you're going to go here, and then you are going to swap those units around. We'll have Snorri Morgrimmel lead the army for now, because it'll reduce the upkeep of the Slayer units therein. Actually, to do so, we need you to get... Oh, you're not ready for Slayers to me yet. You're 2 levels away from Death Wish and all of this stuff. And we'll need to venerate Grimnir, which is also level 15. Okay, so you're a little bit away. You do, however, have other points that you can apply, which I guess will go on to the Rangers. At least these guys have increased their damage significantly under you. Where was this? Thunderer, I guess? Power up there. It's honestly not a lot of power up. Almost tempted to... Oh, but Grimnir's Zares doesn't actually pump up the... the artillery pieces, which have, you know what, that's fine. Tactician is fine, because I was thinking that the Grudge Thrower... Let's get Thunderer. That the Grudge Thrower units actually work nicely with this army, and I was going to get a couple more. I like the idea of the monstrous impact slowing enemies down as they approach the super short-ranged units of Rangers and stuff. Anyway, let's see if this is auto-resolvable, shall we? Decisive victory, low casualties, but of course, the Slayers are being a liability. Well, wait, idea. You go into, you won't be able to leech XP this way, but I'd rather save the time if possible. You move away slightly. And then, no, and that's gonna kill the miners. Okay, fine. Game, we'll fight it. I feel like we don't need to, but we'll fight it. Alright, we'll deal with that in a bit. Assuming that I don't forget, because I have a really bad habit of doing that. Anyway, let's see about anybody else who needs to move. Grimly is nicely positioned. He's not gonna stay here. He just needs to swap units with Gromby until Gromby is ready to go and fight Skarbrand. Rear guards, you're fine where you are. Ooh, actually, the rear guards. One moment. You've leveled up, you have not, but yes, we'll definitely want those levels. You have Mason maxed out. Let's get you Oath of Forging for more Oath Gold spam, and then you are not technically a rear guard, but you are still reducing the construction costs here, so you're still gonna serve a purpose. Yeah, the rest of this is fine. Yeah, we got that deep structure being built. This one's being built. We don't have enough money to get the other version of it, or variant of it, but that's fine. Finn, you are nowhere near to your stack, so you're gonna have to be careful, and while I hate to sit these guys still, I don't think we can attack Queek until Thorgrim is ready to move. Probably to Caragnar, and then maybe even back to Kvinvir. I wish we could see what was there, but I don't want to get any heroes out of Thorgrim's army. So you're gonna sit here in... Well, actually, let's sit you in the Lost Archway so that you can't get ambushed. And you save us a little bit of cash that way, so that's fine. Durek, you're in the same position. Thugni of Zorn, you're waiting for Thorik's new army. Thorik's new army, you are going to move through these mountains barely further, surprisingly. Alright, go. Go. Alright, you don't need to be in Mount Crag, and Mount Crag will be losing some public order, but that's as expected. And we're not investing in this place as yet either. Ooh, any Tromek Thanes? No, unfortunately, no. And no miscast dudes either. Fair enough, at least for now. That was you. Guthrie Holdfast. We're going to delete you as soon as Thorik is back in 2 turns now. And Scout Silverhorn, yes, you are going to try to find the King of Bretonnia, so go out there and find him. Alright, and I guess we're gonna have to fight now. Alright, fine, we'll do so. This little, call it a minor battle, but they'll still have, what, like a stack and a half worth of stuff? Actually, 2 stacks worth of stuff. I forgot about the Wa. Still worth our time. Fine, go for it.
None of you steal my doom, or I'll come find you in the afterlife. You hear me?
Alrighty, here we go. We've gotten round 2, I suppose, for the Axe Storm army, and we'll see how they do. We're not going to bother using our reinforcement army because, well, they're going to take ages to get here, and maybe just the gyrocopters because they can help out against a few things. But until then, we've got a long time of fighting ahead of us, simply because the reinforcements had to be repositioned, and thus they're going to take 4 minutes to get onto the field anyway. Not that we're looking to use them. And since we've essentially fought a similar battle with this particular army before, wherein we blobbed up and then attacked with everybody up here, I decided, well, don't want to fight the same kind of battle in the same kind of way, and thus we're going to instead separate our army into 3 distinct forces, each of which will attack different portions of the enemy settlement. And besides, we've got Snorri Morgrimel now leading this particular army, which means a little bit of a buff for the axe chucking goblin hewers. We'll see how they do. The main issue with using him to command this army is that while he does massively power up our goblin hewers, he does absolutely nothing whatsoever for the rangers. And you gotta admit, the rangers do make up a pretty large contingent of this particular army, so yeah. Another reason why it may behoove us to use another Lord type to command these guys. Anyway, for now, we've got enemies moving down that ramp and taken many an axe to the face, though we are not coming out of this unscathed. Rangers with great weapons here have taken about half of their HP in damage, at least in part, I'm sure, due to friendly fire. I mean, when you've got thousands upon thousands of axes flying around, it's a pretty dangerous place to be. Out here, same kind of thing happened where the enemy moved down the ramp and actually managed to either destroy the miners, or maybe the miners, considering these guys only got 9 kills, maybe the miners were killed off, at least in big part, by our own axes. That's alright though. We got more axes where those came from. And we're by and large using the miners here as a stopgap measure and to eventually evolve them to something else. And once again, I'm really digging this later edition of the Warband upgrade mod. It's making me use basic units a lot more, and I'm enjoying that. As otherwise I'd never bother building miners. At least the non-blasting charges variants, but they gotta work their way through the ranks and get a few battles under their belts, not just those beards of theirs, before they can join the fray as a more elite troop. Anyway, looks like similar sort of situation up above, though we have the least numbers of units here. We do have to be a little bit careful, but we do have the Ulthar's Raiders as the only unit of rangers, so they're gonna be a little bit tougher. Bleed application on their attacks as well, plus the bleed application on the Goblin Hewers, who have expended all their axe ammunition and are now ready to move forward and help the miners in combat. And once again, I like the fact that while we don't yet have our probably couple of different, probably 3 actually, different Slayer armies on field, Ungrim's army and then Malachai's army, and I got another one in terms of an idea. But anyway, until we get those on the field, it's nice to see the Goblin Hewers, you know, fighting melee a lot. And they have certainly been doing so in this particular army. Anyway, how we doing? Similar sort of situation happening in various portions of the map. I guess one minor, well maybe not even minor, but one general issue for this particular army, if not led by a overseer. Even a basic overseer, even a basic guildmaster, rather than specifically an overseer trait, still gives 30% increase to range. It's just that Overseer will give 50% rather than the 30% standard. And the problem of being really, really short range is that the Rangers do have a bad tendency to sort of blob up on top of each other as they try to get towards the enemy, which we would be able to ameliorate at least a decent amount by getting that additional range. On the other hand, we've got a plus 1.5k damage roughly on the Goblin Hewers by having a Slayer Lord lead them. So they're more powerful, even if... I don't know, I'll think about it. Honestly, swapping out Lords as the army evolves and changes its composition isn't a bad thing either. It keeps the Lords leveling and gives us the ability to try out a few different things. Anyway, looks like the Orcs are done down here. They are still, however, fighting up above, and it looks like the enemy Lord, the enemy Night Goblin Warboss, has done heavy damage to Braun Can Doom, our newly arrived Slayer. Gonna have to briefly back off our Goblin Hewers, which have been fighting in the melee for a long time, and quite well at that. 213 kills on them. And frankly, these miners are liable to break soon, so we're probably going to have to send in the Rangers. That's all fine, though, because the Rangers have just ran out of axes to throw, and they still have their big ol' axes to apply to the enemy. Our Grudge Thrower, a single Grudge Thrower that's in this army, has also been chucking those rocks at the enemy. And I do really like that monstrous impact on it, so I'm thinking definitely about getting a couple more. Anyway, Rangers working nicely with those Goblin Hewer Slayers. And frankly, interspersing the melee version of the Goblin Hewers, which apply Bleed, which is a nice combination with the Crippled application from the various ranges with Great Weapons. So kind of having each individual unit, after they're done, sort of move into the melee with the Rangers, rather than separately. Works together, it works just generally quite nicely as well. Certainly something to think about. Anyway, looks like that unit of Gobos is out. The bounce power has shifted to about 90% in our favor. We have nearly broken through on the sort of upper plateau of this particular, the sort of entrance of the enemy settlement. Still a unit of Orc Arrow Boys out there, but we'll knock them out with those gyrocopters since they've been kind of annoying. We're trying to fight in sort of melee and short range here. And they're interfering. Ooh, definitely got to be careful with those Grudge Thrower stones, though. If they drop into the midst of this blob, that's going to get ugly for us. On the bright side, though, it looks like the enemy Lord has been defeated. The Goblins are still in the fight, but I'd wager not for too much longer. Plenty more Goblins up here, though. And I really got to learn to be a little bit more careful with the Runesmiths. Got to remember that, yes, they're heavily armored, but their stats mean that they're kind of fragile. Especially if they run into anything with a very high melee attack and armor piercing. Then they'll go down rather quickly, and we can't have that. Ooh, nice sort of leaping kick from the Goblin Hewer Slayers. I wonder if they have any particular or unique animations to them, or whether they just use the regular Slayer animations. I guess we'll see shortly, as we continue to ramp up our confederations going into the mid game. Well, this is old world after all, and the mid game and the late game are certainly a lot later than they are in the in Immortal Empires. Anyway, it looks like the battle is just about ours. Just a couple more enemy units to clear out, and we can see the blobbing up happening here that I was talking about. Axe is still flying, and Goblin Hewer Slayer is still fighting. Tactically, not much to say. We just have three distinct blobs. Hey, enemy Lord died. Three distinct blobs of units working on getting as deep into the enemy settlement possible. Bit of a contest between them, I suppose. Arrows fly back and thunk into the thirsty axes, who have 10% missile resistance. We're going to need to work on additional missile resistance for this army. I think that's going to be pretty critical. I think there's a Master Rune, or possibly even a non-Master Rune, that gives missile resistance an aura, which I think we're going to want to try to acquire. The additional armor, possibly from a Cathayan War Drum, would also come in handy here, because once again, I feel like there's a lot of friendly fire that's happening in this army. And if that is going to be the case, we're going to need to guard against it as well as we can. Anyway, that'll be a consideration for later. This battle is pretty much ours, and in fact, I think we're ready to speed this up as the enemy army will shatter, and the battle will be ours. And unlike the previous battle, where we won by virtue of being in one massive blob, we essentially had victory in 3 separate locations, with our lord leading the portion of our army that got deepest into the enemy settlement, which, as it should be. Lovely. Alright, there we go. Another nice, enjoyable fight for the Rangers and the Goblin Heroes. Working quite well, and the damage values are pretty up there as well. 39k, 30k, 38k, 27k. It looks like between acting as artillery and then moving into the battle as actual slayers will keep them racking up those totals. I'm impressed that they outdamaged most, not all, but most of the regular Rangers, or throwing axe Rangers, with the thirsty axes proven that they're pretty apt in terms of their name. 30k, and the rat catchers close behind. Pusseltar's Raiders as well. 41k, very nice. Alrighty, fun fight. We're gonna occupy the place. Idol of Zak Aloog and their choir master. Good, not on you, but good. And what do we have here? Orcsbane. Okay, nothing of significance. Alrighty, so I believe these guys have territories here. I mean, they still have 4 territories remaining, so they're going into these mountains here. And they're probably bordering a Chaos Dwarf faction. Huh, actually, I don't see any Chaos Dwarf faction. There's Scaven in the Graves of the Dragons. I would like to, well, I was about to say I would like to link up with Imric, but technically speaking, we have Destroy, Ivres, Knights of Skaldour, and Order of Lore Masters for the final War of Vengeance grudge. So, yeah. Link up with Imric might mean kill Imric. But, well, that's his problem. Anyway, that was a nice fun fight. Let's see if there's anything else that we need to do. I don't think that there was, but I just wanted to double check. And we did check diplomacy, but I'm going to double check it. Ah, we got Carrick Norn now visible. See, that's why you double check things, people. Yeah, I could trade with you, and yeah, let's get that tribute to the High King. There we go, 3k. Not as much, but I'm too lazy to do it over for various turns, so let's take your money. What do we have here? Sigmarsheim, you're not ready to trade yet, are you? Not yet, but eventually. Not like we're gonna bother going into the non-mountainous portion of Bretonnia. The Burning Wind Nomads have lost their last settlement, unfortunately. Huh, I wonder if we were trading with them previously or not. I imagine we were. Well, unfortunate to lose a Cathayan faction, but the western provinces will serve our need for Cathayan units, at least for now. And the rest of this, I think, we'll ignore. We have plenty of military allies in the main factions, Borwell, all the Kislevites, Reichland, and Wissenland. Though I fear that if we go after the elves, that will mean that the Golden Order is a non-starter, because they'll get really pissed off if we start killing Teklas. It's a fair bit away, though, so we'll consider that once, once we consider it. You... I forget. Oh, that was this turn. Okay, darn. Alright, fine. Just besiege that, and then I guess we can end the turn now. There's nothing to build. We want the deeps here, but it's in 2 turns. We could actually uncollect the income if we wanted to, and that will somewhat fix it. Wait, actually, just out of curiosity. That was still 2 turns. I was wondering if we were to uncollect the income, it would accelerate the growth, but alas, no. Alright, fine. Lord not moved, unsand skill points, building upgrades available, garrison lord not moved, outpost available, can't afford it, and we don't have enough allegiance to make use of it anyway, so hardly matters. Let's end the turn. Decent likelihood that the Clan Moor's rats declare war on us very soon, so we do have to be wary of this as well. They're currently at war with Belagar, Crooked Moon, which are dead, and, well, they are fighting the Keepers of the Mountain, I don't know who that is, and Exiles of Nehek. Ooh, I do wonder if the Exiles are in territories that we must claim for our grudges. Guess we'll see. End turn. Well, there go the Burning Wind Nomads, unfortunately. For them, we're okay, though. Ella begins outpost construction, Westerland. Technology researched. Ooh, more High King's Tribute. That's nice. That's real nice. Abominable Puppet Grudge. Win 3 battles against vampire counts. We'll do that, and we'll give that a read once we're, close to actually doing so, because it may be a bit. No new trade agreements, but we'll have to keep an eye on Ziflin, as they are certainly a potential trade partner. At least until we inevitably confederate them. And yes, I know that you can sort of cheat the confederation thing by and I did this with my Malachi campaign. I'm kind of off it. What was I saying? Yeah, you can cheat the confederation thing by first confederating a regular dwarf faction and then using the Book of Grudges confederation, because it doesn't consider the debuffs as their separate cooldowns, and therefore you can get 2 for the price of 1. But I feel like it's a little cheaty. I mean, on the one hand, it's nice to get the additional factions, but on the other hand, there's a reason that you get huge debuffs for Confederation. Granted, I do feel like they're a little bit much, especially for super minor factions. Like, if you confederate a faction with 1 territory, your entire empire of like 100 territories or whatever is gonna get super pissed and have rebellions everywhere. It seems a bit silly, especially for certain factions, like, I don't know, Lizardmen, for example. Wait, do Lizardmen even have that debuff? But anyway, my point is, yeah, it was unclear. Anyway, I'll think about it. Maybe I'll do it with a couple of minor factions, but maybe not major ones. Anyway, Moonhowler Camp, you're next on the menu. And I start doing things out of order again. What do we have here? It's a walled settlement. They've got some decent stuff in there. We could have Joseph of Zorn attack and Valiant defeat. Yeah, I don't see that happening. Not against the Fire Army. We could move these guys in to reinforce. How many? Wait. They have one territory. They have 4 territories. Wait. Where are the other territories? What the heck? Huh. Maybe they're over here? Who's this? Now that's Challengers of Khorne, so that's our ball. But if they only own 1 territory out of the Ashridge Mountains, is this Scaven? Who's this? I don't know. Huh. I'm curious to know where their other territories are. They could be in the mountains here, maybe interspersed with the Khornate ones. Kind of an interesting thought. Anyway, in the meantime, let's kill Scram Orcs Chosen. We'll auto-resolve this because it's a waste of our time. Auto-resolve, and we will occupy the place. Unfortunate to waste a... Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Yeah, it's gonna crash again. I forgot to... See, I started to get in the habit of last episode of quick saving it, and then it didn't work out this time. All right, that's fine. Fortunately, it was just after the end turn, so I'll make a cut, and then I'll try to get into the habit again. Be right back. All right, let's try this again. This time, quick save this game. Why? We had such a good episode last time without this happening. Not a huge deal, just minor annoyances and all that. Occupy the place, and yeah, after I reload the game, it always works. So, has something to do with that. Anyway, with that, Skarsnik is destroyed. We're not gonna collect income here immediately, and since we don't own Ziflin, we're not gonna. Well, we should probably still build the Karaz Ankor for cheap, relatively cheap, and. We could do either a trading depot or a construction site while we're here and then replace it with the deep mine later. It is income from all buildings and construction costs and stuff. And there's a minor adjacency bonus to it at least. Don't get me wrong, the trading depot is also nice, but if we have to choose between the two, I'd rather say build this one because it will reduce the cost of the future trading depot, will it not? Yes, it will. Good. Alrighty, there we go. Or we could build the engineer building here. Yeah, we're a little short on them. Let's see, speaking of, or at least good engineers. Okay, we have another Harazi, which is great if we want to build another fire army, which we do, but this is not that time, and the rest of that is fine. Huh, 17k. Wasn't it a 20k? Am I crazy, or was it a 20k? I gotta reload after this. Oh, maybe it was while Joseph of Zorn was standing here. Hopefully the reload didn't do something to the money making. Curious. Ooh, also, while we're here, let's check lords. Hi, lord. No, and no. That was quick. We got 1 turn left until Thorik is back. Good. Alright, so since we're doing stuff from the top again, minus Joseph of Zorn, who is going to attack, it's just that we'll wait for that. Ulfar, yes, you can reach up here. I'm a little bit concerned at the proximity of the various Skaven. I'm just going to assume that they can't immediately reach you, so go here. As out of range as you can possibly be. Gotta bring Thorgrim his new engineer and his dwarf warriors, which are in fact going to become a gyro bomber. Yes. And he still has room, but also, yep, he's got a weird little army, and it's going to be adjusted. Snorri Morgrimmel. Yeah, I do still want to do stuff with you. I don't think Joseph of Zor needs the help at Moonhowler's camp, but at the same time, you might be able to leech XP. Frankly, all of you might be able to leech XP. So I guess you can move in. We could also send one of you to Black Gouge and start fighting rats. Well, it really depends on where these guys' other territories are, because we'll need several armies to go through the rat territories. And the rat defeat trade is also, you know, quite nice. You're gonna go into March stance, you're gonna transfer the Slayers back to Snorri Morgrimel as we hit Moonhowler's camp. Similar to the last battle, we most likely won't use the reinforcements, though obviously the other way around, since it's the different armies. Anyway, you guys sit here, reinforce as needed. We'll fight that in a sec, but let's get everybody else in position. Vikram Burdrick, you need to transfer... Well, actually, Vikram doesn't need to transfer anything himself. It's really the Dragon Slayer. While Vikram, you can be reset and put somewhere else now, can't you? Oh. We have Stonemason. What did I want to do? I wanted to get some organ guns and a few other things, but it's probably faster to reset you and then transfer them while build... Oh, we can't build... We don't have the artillery building here. What can we build here? We can build gyrocopters and basically any gun units and any melee units. Oh, right. Oh, right. Okay, before I forget... Okay, I'm glad I clicked here. Let's take a look at the deep stuff. And what do we got here? This is... Broken War Machines. Chaos... What? What? Wait, you can find random... Okay, I didn't know about... Nobody told me about this. Yeah, you guys, come on now. I didn't know that that was a thing. Is this specific to Pillars of Grugni, or... It doesn't say anything about that. Huh. Well, that's great. It does mean we need to upgrade the entrance halls here, still, because now we can't build the thing that we wanted to build, but, this is nice. It's missile strength plus 10 for all artillery pieces. Okay, so does this mean we need to build deeps everywhere just to uncover possible extra stuff? I'm not a huge fan of the massive amount of chaos corruption, but this is probably the best place to get it, because Karaz-a-Karak has the... Oh, we should also start on this. Wait. Do we have a thing that reduces the time it takes to build buildings? I don't think we do we? We do not. Alright, fine, just build it then. I think we have some techs that do it, but otherwise, no. Alrighty, we'll take another look here afterwards. It's nice, man. It's free upkeep reduction for all units, which we were looking to spam and stack anyway. So, yeah. Alright, well, back to this. Vikram, yeah, I guess we're gonna reset you for now, and then we'll send you either to command an army, since I do like the vengeful trade and stuff. We could, in fact, if we really wanted to, make you King Azrael and then send you up north. We need to claim the Silver Pinnacle anyway, and we need... Well, you know what? That's probably a decent idea. We'll need to go to the Moonstone Mountain. Yeah, and I was going to use King Azrael as a Frost and Fire army, and we do have plenty of Kislevite allies. I like it. I like it a lot. Reset for now, since you're going to have different traits than you currently have, since it's now time to command units. Like so. He'll be back. We needed to send somebody up north anyway, and it's going to be otherwise taking a while. Gromby, are you... Ah, you finally reached the place. Okay, we gotta... I don't see a Scarbrand, so I think we're okay. Also, rearguard, you can move into Valea's Will. Start moving here towards Kraka Ornsmatek, and we got 2 turns until we need to swap it into a different commandment. Gromby, you're going to head into Forbidden Citadel, and thereafter we're going to switch your troops between you and Grimly. This might take some thinkering. Alright, but it is nice that we managed to get here before Scarbrand arrived. So rude declaring war on us, but hardly unexpected. You know what, keep collecting income for now. This is also a good time to do another quest battle, but Thorgrim is damaged, so I guess maybe we wait 1 turn and then do it after. And then maybe while we have 1 turn left over, Confederate again? I will think about it. It would essentially give us all of 8 peaks with Belegar if we wanted to right now, but he's not a very critical Confederation. Whereas I think Malachi is a decent option, because he has just the 1 settlement, and by the looks of it, isn't doing well enough to complete his own quests and stuff. Though on the other hand, he is rank 18. He is keeping pace with the others, if nothing else. Ungrim's a good option, but as soon as we confederate Ungrim, we have the issue of having to redo all of our deeps, because he holds a fair bit of territory. And that'll take us over the settlement to turn ratio. We're at 58 and we're at 67, so there is that. I'll think about it. Anyway, I keep getting distracted by stuff. All right, Grimly and Gromby. Switch and swap. All right, let's. Okay, this requires some thinking. Gyrocopters are staying in Gromby's army. Okay, obviously the Quarrelers and the Bolt Throwers are not. I was thinking Gromby will get 4 Iron Breakers, so he can have one of these miners with blasting charges and then keep the rest. Alright, then 13, 26. Okay, obviously you're getting the Gyrocopters and the Thunderers. 18 and 21. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so yeah, you have a few too many Dwarf Warriors and melee units, but that's fine, because we're gonna want more Bolt Throwers anyway. 18 and 21. I guess we have to give up one more unit to Gromby. Is anything else need to be transformed into another unit? We could give up one of these guys, but I think that's fine. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I was thinking 8 Quarrelers would be sufficient, meaning 1 extra Quarreler is unnecessary. Alright, we'll lose... Oh! But we'll need an extra Quarreler of the Grudge Settler variety. We have 3. Then I guess that one gets replaced anyway. Alright, we'll take the lowest level Quarreler and put it into Gromby's army for now. I'm gonna hope that I did this correctly. Alright, let's see. So you two will become more Bolt Throwers. 1, 2, 3. You will become Longbeards. You will be replaced by a Grudge Settler Longbeard as soon as we have capacity, which we don't yet. In fact, let's do this right now. You two will become Bolt Throwers. There we go. Alright, oh, and I gotta get you a rune for those. At least the Rune of Seeking. I don't know about the Explosive Rune, although I kind of like the idea as well. Yeah, you know what? Let's get a Rune of Burning on you as well. One to actually act as anti, unit piles. And Rune of Seeking... Oh, I'm not sure I did the thing to get the Runes of Seeking, so I'll do it after. Once Thorik is back, who is next turn, right? Yeah. Although his items may be active without the need for that. Also, the Quarrelers... I think we're gonna go Great Weapons rather than Shields in this particular army. So we could swap you back towards the Great Weapon variant. Or maybe not, I don't know, I'll think about it. We could also do, several and several, because the Quarrelers with Grudge Settlers all have great weapons. Alright, so I think this is okay for Grimly for now. It's going to need some adjustment in the form of getting 2 Engineers in here. That's the main difference, which means probably replacing one of the Bolt Throwers and then one of the Quarrelers. Or 1 Engineer to replace 1, we'll see. Gromby, Thunderers you're keeping for now until they evolve. The Quarrelers are more or less just a placeholder, though we can evolve them to Thunderers at rank 4, which should be pretty quick. So that's fine. These guys will be evolved into Dwarf Warriors into eventually Iron Breakers. I kind of like the idea of Iron Breakers in Grimbrindle's army because they're such an incredibly slow unit, but he gives them so much speed that they're at 48 speed, which is pretty neat. He also needs this Gyrocopter to become a Thunder Barge, our first Thunder Barge. And I think, okay, rank 9. It'll be a while until we get there. Oh, right, when you become a single unit, it becomes... what's it called? It loses all of its HP, which is a bit of a shame. Watch him get immediately charged by Skarbrand. Well, not charged, but whatchamacallit. Besieged. Anyway, you're gonna get some Dwarf Warriors of the basic variety, I guess. And we'll probably transfer them to Longbeards shortly. Although I don't know whether we have enough money to do so right now. And it'll be a while until we get all the way to Iron Breakers, but I like it. Once again, I really like the idea of units working their way up from Miner to Warrior to Longbeard to Hammerer to Iron Breaker. It's pretty neat. Yes, might have a few too many Thunderers in here, depending on how we swap the stuff. Oh, he needs a Skaldour Guard as well. Oh, well then that'll be the Quarrelers replaced. Oh, fantastic. In fact, while we don't need to get the Quarrelers on field immediately, or the... you can get out. Wait, we're at 19 troops. So we can still get the Skaldour Guard, and then... Well, the Engineer, but the Engineer might take a while, so yeah, okay, fine. Speaking of Engineers, 2 turns, okay. Have to pay attention to that. Grimly, and you are fine now, though Grimly...
of the layer.
Oh, it's showing that he has full movement, but he has in fact no movement. Why are you lying, game? Why would you do this? I thought you loved me. I guess we're going to the next things then.
I'm ready.
You guys will attack. A rear guard does not need to move. You guys need to be evolved into Dwarf Warriors as soon as you're there. You guys need to be evolved into Grudge Rakers, which you cannot do yet. You have to go through Quarreler. Okay, it's gonna take a while. Can you go into a Grudge Raker? No, not yet either. Alright, I'm gonna have to be careful of that. The Goblobbers also need to be taken out of this army to be given to Thorik, because that's what he's gonna be all about. But for now, I don't think we can do it. Frankly, we need a few more units in here to actually max out the army, so that might be a cause to move some units around. Anyway, Thugni of Zorn, you're staying. We've already moved the other guy. No, we have not. March Stance into Loose Tooth Camp to save a little bit of money and gain a little bit of additional public order before we do that quest battle, which I guess we'll do next turn once Thorgrim's army is healed. Hopefully it doesn't hurt us too much in terms of the public order losses, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Braun Hammerfist, you're fine. I always forget because you're technically not a rearguard lord, but you're kind of acting as one, at least for now. These guys have already checked, and then Scout Silverhorn, you're the last before we fight. So you go here, keep on looking for Bretonia. Get some invective going against those Wood Elves there. Joseph of Zorn, let's level you up and let's strike. And let's get you Thunderer. And then we'll be maxing out those rank 7s soon, so we'll have more power for the pair of Grundadrax flame cannons. Yeah, so you're good. You're rank 10, so we can wait on you because you're waiting for rank 12. You have got the Zufbar 42 pounders, which frankly are kind of meh, but you know, better than nothing. And then you've got those as well. Alright. I don't know if the number of uses stacks, but it also doesn't matter over much. Ooh, Retinue Physician. Yes, we are the elite into Retinue Physician. Good. And then we'll get the Rune of Hearth and Home and Wardbreaker immediately. Well, you know what? Actually, I lied. Rune of Hearth and Home and Wardbreaker to start, because we'll most likely rank up either here or very soon. And we're not going to level up the other guys because they're not fighting this battle, really. And wait. It did not have a, okay. Strike and quick save before we do. Frickin'. Come on. There we go. Or burn the Oathbreakers, that's probably going to be the better thing to do here. Alright, here we go, another one of these sieges. Last time we besieged the enemy with one of our Jartrom clan armies. They had to fight it in, non-cinematic mode. We'll do the cinematic version this time around. But I'm going to speed it up as we sort of begin the battle with our artillery pieces, our Grudge Thrower and our 2 flame cannons firing away, breaching the enemy walls, knocking down the enemy towers, and preparing the way for the rest of our units to move on in. In the meantime, however, the Gyrocopters Brimstone guns, fire units after all, are doing a little bit of work and knocking out a few of those enemy boar boys who are able to do absolutely nothing. And it looks like this particular army has not too much in the way of units for anti-air, and especially no Force Goblin Spider Rider Archers. So the Gyrocopters of Brimstone guns are unthreatened by any of this and are able to rack up plenty of kills and get plenty of damage. 17k, pretty solid. Anyway, gonna get a little bit more fire action as we sort of support our army or provide covering fire. Covering fire. Decent name. Anyway, for the rest of our army, while we slowly get the rest of our units moving on in. Alrighty, and there we go. Time for the battle to start. We're going to move our Thane and our Runesmith into the battle against some of those biggins. And then we could drop a Rune of Wrath and Ruin upon them and start getting the rest of our army into the enemy settlement. Plenty of breaches to work our way through, after all. Obviously, the Thane goes much deeper into the enemy formation than the Runesmith is. But that's alright. Rest of our units are moving in. Looks like a few enemies decided to attempt to make their way down the ramp, and between the flame cannon and the newly arrived Iron Drakes and the blasting charges, that's going to be far too much fire for the enemy to contend with. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And that's even before the Thunderers with Drake guns have arrived. They're moving in to the settlement next. Alright, this unit of Orc Biggins has been pretty much cleared out. A couple more volleys from our flamethrowers will make sure that the fried mushrooms are going to be backing off. And then we're going to switch fire to the enemy range units in the back here, the enemy Orc Error Boys. Gotta make sure that they're not plinking away at us with those crude arrows of theirs. Crude and inaccurate, I should say, as the goblins are the accurate ones among the greenskins. Alright, down goes that unit, down goes the Orc Biggin unit, and we are well into the enemy settlement now, and there's very little that the enemy can do, admittedly, especially as the balance of power has shifted to about 85% in our favor. Obviously, we're not using our reinforcing army, so we're just going to leave them there where they've arrived as reinforcements. And they can wait until our first fire army, clears the enemy out. Like I said, our second fire army is probably going to be a frost fire army. There's several Kislevite units that I want to get into our various stacks, and there is a new Kislevite unit that was recently added in SFO, the Uragan guns, and I really want to get those on field and play around with them. They'll work nicely with our organ guns. Although, as somebody on the Discord has described, they're a little bit different and function more like a big ol' shotgun artillery piece, which will work in our shotgun army, so that'll have organ guns and Uragan guns, and then cannons and shotguns and thunderers. Gonna be a nice gun-centric army, which would be pretty darn fun. Anyway, looks like the enemy does have some Spider Riders after all, but not the Archer variant. We're going to hold them off with our former Ekron Miners, now the Minor Inconveniences, and the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, who will send those spiders skittering away. Bounce power at about 90% now, and frankly, there's really not much else that the enemy can do. They can vainly attempt to move towards us. It looks like the Boar Boys here are trying to use the buildings for cover, and there we go. Some Drake guns fire into the enemy as well. Enemy is flammable, so the weakness to fire will increase the damage that they take. Probably a lot of stopping power between the Drake guns and the Iron Drakes and the blasting charges. That poor unit of Boar Boy Biggins, I should say, is done. And in fact, by the looks of it, will be wiped out down to a single orc and single boar. As in, they're all dead. Anyway, out here, looks like some black orcs are going to, I was about to say, attempt to make their way down the ramp, but frankly, they're probably not even going to get to the ramp, because they'll just burn from a distance. All that heavy armor of theirs slowing them down like a, I don't know, like a canned food being put on a stove. Unpleasant is what I'm getting at for the thing inside the tin can. Alrighty, ooh, nice charge from our Slayer, who knocks a Black Orc aside as he charges on in, and the Black Orcs will rout as the single entities at last arrive. And I did want the single entities to leech a little bit of XP, so unlike the rest of the army, which has been waiting all the way back there the entire time, we did send the single entities. And anyway, I do believe with that the battle is pretty much ours. I'm going to try to knock out that blocker barricade while we get a few more shots into the Orc Boar Boys hanging around down there with the Gyrocopters of Brimstone guns, who we have been able to top up with the break open the casks ability, their re-ammo ability, which has been pretty effective. Alright, there we go. Just a couple more enemies to work our way through. Single entity is going to move on in to fight those Orc Biggins, and I do believe there's another unit of Black Orcs hanging around out here. I don't know if it's going to attempt to charge us. No. Comes out of the protection of the building there, and then it at least immediately attempts to back off. And they've got a long way to go, as they just keep on burning. And of course, if they should close the distance a little bit, we do got a couple of the Drake guns here to help out as well. I do wish that these two had different applications in terms of the fire weakness that they offer, but it's all good. And that's what our artillery does, so, well, we'll be able to combine them more in other sort of situations. Anyway, Black Orcs may be getting close enough for the Drake guns to fire away at them. Are these guys... Nope. I thought they were getting ready to take aim. And there we go, the Black Orcs got cooked and never able to approach the last of the enemy. Also Black Orcs up here, and some biggins got torn to shreds by our single entities. And with that, the battle is ours. They'll take a few more flames as they run, and while we move towards the enemy as still on the field. Just gotta get into proximity, they'll shatter, and with that, the battle is done. Alright, there we go. One loss. I don't know which beardling managed to get themselves killed, but at the end of the day, I suppose it doesn't matter. Huh. Was one of these guys? Who the heck died? There's nobody out of the main army. Interesting. Maybe some kind of friendly fire, but the second army wasn't really used at all, hence all the 0 kills. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. Occupy the place, and... Oh, okay, this time it doesn't crash. Hey, a banner of eternal flame. I think we already had one in Joseph's army, and frankly, I might actually put that off of the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass and put him on Joseph himself, who doesn't do fire damage, because we want to keep the suppression on his minigun rather than... or his Gatling gun rather than anything else. Alright, Choirmaster attack. Oh, darn, who got the Teller of Tales? Was it the same guy? Old Silk Road secured, good. We will go for the Masters of Steel and Stone, and then we'll upgrade some stuff next turn before moving. We don't need the Mustering Hall here, especially not in the main settlement, and I do like the Great Halls, the Drinking Halls, but this is another place where the Karaz Ankor will be quite nice because it'll be transferring control to, I don't know, like 4 or 5 nearby provinces, meaning it's better than the beer hall. Granted, the beer hall does give us additional cash and stuff, but I still like it. Anyway, we'll build the trade goods next turn, I guess. And yeah, everything else is there. Oh, right, I wanted to see who got that Teller of Tales. It was Ragni Stoneheart. No, not for you. That's for the rearguard lords. Alrighty, and you guys cannot move any further. You can keep leeching XP though, because you'll be commanding your own army. You need to move down here and actually move towards these armies. And the Moonhowlers are in, well, in pretty bad shape by the looks of it. And it looks like we'll be... Ooh, hello, we have something at Vaults of Plenty. Nothing faction-wide, but better than nothing, I guess. I guess this is a non-unique... a non-unique landmark, as in everybody has access to it, but yeah, we'll be fighting the Khornates up in the north and down in the south. Go figure. Ow, we dropped down to Strength Rank 3 out of 2. I wonder why that is. We did remove an extra army. Ooh, Carrick Ziflin wants to trade now. Well, isn't that lovely? I guess we'll be keeping the Knight Avengers of Brion around as well, so... Ow. I was hoping to do the trade with them, but they didn't want the agreements. Alright, fine. We'll just do Ziflin for now. Don't bother with the alliance as yet, though we might do it at some point, but for now, tribute to the High King, please.
Very well.
Alright. Although vision from Ziflin might have some uses. Alrighty, and I believe that's it for this turn, minus the money, the expenditures. First of all, we'll check the deeps. We are not building the deeps here in Caragrill this turn, but we will next turn, once Thorgrim is able to move, and do his quest battle, next turn as well, so we'll leave that. Besides, there's other stuff to build here, like upgrading the Karaz Ankor, before heading to Caragnar, which is probably the next phase of this. We do need to get a move on, or else our Age of Reckoning progress will be stymied, but, yeah. Anyway, let's see the deeps here again, since we do have money. We could upgrade this at 7.5k, or we could take a look at other territories. Some of them are making quite a bit of cash now, after all, and could still use some good stuff. This one will be upgraded in a couple of turns. You're okay right now, West Darklands. Although I am tempted by the cool upgrade, we want to wait to switch it, and I think we can only switch essentially one province at a time. Don't want to switch too many out of High King's Tribute at once. There's probably several that are not currently in High King's Tribute, however. Ooh, Mount Squighorn, we can build the barley field there. The trading depots are a little bit expensive, and I think we'll start building or spamming trading depots once we're at tier 2 in more places. Black Crag, we do want to get rid of the mustering hall, though we currently might want to keep it for the additional Thane capacity since we're getting rid of another one in another place, so maybe hold off in just a bit. We don't have a special deeps location here, do we? No, we don't, unfortunately. Still probably want to, you know, build a deep structure here. We could upgrade the Ooze-Cool mines for the additional gold mine upgrade. Yeah, I think that's a decent use of our time and mine. Troll's eggs, yes to the exotic animal pen. Might as well upgrade the... Ooh, 4K. Well... it'll affect, what, 2 other provinces? Wait, no, it's here. Still affect 2 other provinces. Probably not worth it yet, but it will be eventually. But the Gorl mines, I think, are a solid investment, and I believe... Okay, let's upgrade the gem mine, and there we go. That's all the money we got. Oh, you didn't have... that, whatever, it doesn't matter. Skip. Garrison Lord on moved, and I guess that's another end turn. Alright, Rite of Sotek performed, irrelevant. Ambusher discovered, irrelevant. Faction destroyed. Probably irrelevant. I don't know where exactly these guys... Oh, there's Queek. We might his defeat trade on Thorik, but... no, Thorgrim. Thorik is back, so that's that. Abominable Puppet Grudge mission issue... Didn't we already get that one? Am I crazy? Oh, that was probably during that crash over the end turn, which means it probably got reissued. Crashing. Anyway, let's move and let's get Thorik on field again. Alright, so Gautry, you are going to jump... Can you jump over these mountains? Ah, you cannot. You need more movement range, I mean, damn. Alright, go here. We'll need to trade with Thungni of Zorn. We'll also need to figure out exactly what we want to do here. First of all... Wait, do we have any additional... Okay, we have one more Grudge Thrower, Grudge Settler. I did want to put it in another army, but I think for now we'll get this one in here. We have... Do we want to keep a single unit of Ironbreakers in his army to act as, I don't know, a single sort of linchpin? We're not going to get Grimnir's heirs, that's for certain, but it might not be horrible. On the other hand, I don't know, Thorik with Ironbreakers... Wait, I assume he starts with Ironbreakers based on the fact that he had one, so maybe he'll be okay with it. Is he going to get upset at them throwing bombs around? That I'm not so sure about, but maybe. And he'll need engineers as well. Oh, right. Did we not start building the engineer building here? Well, need to upgrade it in order to actually get more engineers here. And we have the entrenched one. Another entrenched one, which is good. Actually, that reminds me, before I forget... Ooh, let's also build you up. Vineyards. I need to get Black Fang in order to get this province maxed out. Ooh, also looking for a Thane with Traumac. Perfect. Okay, I'm glad I looked down here. Mount Crag. You're the only one that can get this, right? Okay, so we're gonna have to have the Traumac guy follow the other army around, but that's fine. We're wanting you on field. Good. Then... You have 2, assuming that we get one more. Okay, you can do this now. Yes. Alrighty, then we will need... Okay, Dwarf Warriors can become anything they want, including Grudge Throwers if we want them to become such, but between the Goblobber and the... Well, 4 is probably insufficient, so we'll probably at least want a couple more. Alright. We'll definitely want more Quarrelers. The Dwarf Warriors can become Quarrelers as well, can they not? Actually, the Miners can probably become Quarrelers as well by becoming Dwarf Warriors. Kind of expensive to do so like that, but better than nothing. Yeah, you and you are going to become Dwarf Warriors. And then both of you are going to become... I don't know. We have 2 Great Weapon Quarrelers. We should have... Well, guess some Shielded Quarrelers. I don't want to over-Quarreler it, but at the same time... Quarrelers, there we go. At the same time, we don't know how much other stuff there is needed anyway. Let's do that, then we will swap around. We'll temporarily get you this engineer. I don't think Innovator is the appropriate kind of engineer to have in this army, but he can level it up and then be transferred elsewhere. Okay, this is gonna get confusing. You. Lose the Iron Drakes, that's too fancy for Thorik. Okay, and if we lose these guys, we will have space for 3 more units, which we could fill with quarrelers for now and then replace over time with other units. So I think that's probably the best way to do it. And this could be the beginning of a new army, it's just that the stuff in here kind of doesn't work super well for him. Anyway, let's transfer the Dwarf Warriors and then these 2 miners, and then they can become quarrelers for now until we are ready to swap units around. We also need an additional Runesmith or 3 in this army. And we got a Karaki one. The enemy miscast transferred it. Well, perfect. You're going to pop into the head army immediately then. Alright, and then we're going to head to the Challenge Stone with Thorgrim himself. Oh, I guess that means we can lose another one of these miners here. Alright, fine. I'll lose the, I don't know, least leveled miners. Well, frankly, I'll lose 2 of them. Oh, we don't have space for that. Alright, fine. Lose the 1 Dwarf Warrior then. Wait. We have an, okay, we have too many slots.
I'll cast the runes.
What are you again? Okay, you're a runesmith. The rest of this is fine. And now I feel like we have too many of these guys, but it is what it is. At least for now. Maybe we should upgrade these guys or side grade these guys to the regular variant. It's not expensive or anything like that. Like so. Alright, there we go. Now we have some more shielded ones. We need the Goblobber in here, but we can't do it right now. Gautry, you have the Bolgi trait, which is kind of meh. And we're going to replace you anyway with Mr. Thorik. Like so. Oh, for a second I thought I replaced the wrong guy, and no, we're okay. Alright, so Thorik. Inspiring Presence, we will want Great Locus of Power immediately to get that enemy casts suffer minor miscast explosion when casting, especially since we're going to use you to hunt down Kairos. Shared cooldowns, ooh, Veteran Anvil Guard is a pretty solid +8/+8. Fiery Temper gives us character experience rate per turn in the Lord's Army. Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin cooldown reductions. I don't think you have anything... Okay, let's get the construction thing. Frenzy and charge bonus for the Lord Army, though I don't know how we'd be getting any benefit out of the charge bonus, admittedly. Master Rune of Grugny gives us the missile resistance and the... Oh, you already get a Master Rune of Spite, so you don't need this one. That's good. I'm just gonna take that off, yeah, and put that on somebody else. Glad I checked that. That's why you read stuff, folks. I rarely do so this is beneficial. Master Rune of Stromny Redbeard for Runesmiths. Another reason to have Runesmiths, and the hero action success chance for Runesmiths as well. For all heroes, though I don't know what actions we might be taking specifically with the Runesmiths, you know. We'll want the... I mean, he has base versions of the Rune of Speed and Rune of Oath and Steel, so I think we might be better off upgrading the army via various means anyway, and we should, in theory, get Rune Master, but I think, generally speaking, I like to focus on upgrading the army first and then other stuff after, so we'll do that. His items are fine, at least for now. We already gave him the Talisman of Preservation as the Potion of Healing. He'll get some runes, but that'll be later. Alright, good enough for now, minus the Runesmith and whatever unit we... I guess, you know what, we can take out one of these miners. They can't be evolved into anything useful anyway. Well, they can. Like, that was just a straight up lie. It's just that I don't want to. Alrighty, Dwarf Warriors. And he can, I guess, hold on to the Iron Breakers. They can be his personal guard, I guess. Alright, that looks good. Getting ready to move towards Kairos. In the meantime, Thorgrim, you got things to do. Many, many things. And to head towards Caragnar, our time is rapidly dwindling, so we really need to... Wait. Oh, right. Maybe we should be able to complete the specific grudge for Karak 8 Peaks shortly. Anyway, you'll be able to hit Caragnar next turn. I'm just going to assume that there isn't a pile of armies here at Kvin Avir. We're going to move Ulfar and Norgrimling. Oh, I should have probably built stuff here while you... Nope, never mind. You were fine. Could build stuff here, I guess. Yeah. Wait, what is that faction-wide? Income for post-battle loot faction-wide. That's actually solid. Now, Thorgrim, you are going to get some stuff from this guy. Specifically these 2 things. Like so. And then while we're here, you're going to get Mason. And we're going to reset you shortly, but, you know, we'll use you to help build stuff here in Karagloon. Speaking of, now is the time to upgrade the Deeps for 4,000, not too bad. And we will immediately upgrade the Gold Mine, the Scrat Mine, the Gorl Mine, the Makazungur, the Vaults, and we're good. Next, The dwarf warrior that we got was supposed to become a gyrocopter to join the second gyrocopter. I fear it won't be able to be upgraded to it immediately, but eventually. Do that, and then it'll need to be rank 7. So a while, but it's fine. Alright. And now we're at 19 out of 20 units. Obviously, there's a couple of extra heroes in here that aren't needed. Oh, and we also got the new engineer. And otherwise, are leveling pretty well. Is Thorik rank 30 yet? No, but we do want him to be rank 30 because he gets a unique thing when he does that. Joseph of Zorn. I guess you're moving to Stonebeard Camp. Stonefangs Camp. I should just remain it to Stonebeard Camp. Go right here. What do we got? Nothing. Nothing whatsoever. You guys, I think, aren't ready to face off against Starball until you get more units, however. And, oh, you need to join this army anyway. So you know what? You, Snorri, stay here. We're going to transfer a unit of miners out. These will be handy. Trust. In fact, take all the miners. Yeah, I like it. We'll do this. We'll take all the miners. We will start moving you this way because we're going to be trading these miners to this army and evolving them to other stuff, and is going to have to work for his new army. You are going to replenish those troops. You guys are going to get into each other's way like complete idiots. And we'll need engineers here. I think I already double-checked engineers, but I should probably double-check it again. We don't have any engineer buildings nearby, do we? Just want to make sure. We're not collecting income here. Ugh, I don't think so. Alright. Well, we'll need to summon them eventually. And then you will actually want to get a... I'll probably get the couple of Grudge Settler Slayers in here. Probably temporarily, at least most likely temporarily, but we shall see. I mean, we might as well use them and then transfer them to Ungrim eventually anyway. We got one more turn left on Confederation, but that's fine. For now, Thorgrim, it's time to do your next quest battle, which is the Armor of Skaldour, which will take you to rank 30 and unlock your next quest. And this will be right now. An emissary from Karaz-a-Karak brings word the Troll Country, a malign wilderness in southeastern Norska, has seen a steady rise in the numbers of hideous creatures stalking its ice-racked forests and tundra. Countless numbers of trolls and giants displaced by the increased competition for food and territory are a threat to Karaz-a-Karak, whilst others encroach into the World's Edge Mountains and other civilized lands. It is time for a cull, and whenever there is a foul monster in need of vanquishing, there you will find the Slayers, death-sworn followers of the Slayer cult, and therefore ever in search of the most dangerous adversaries upon which to unleash their mighty axecraft. Teleport. Alright, we got... Oh, wow, that's a big old pile of trolls. Huh. Frankly, I think our hammers are possibly the better choice against them than... Well, at least regular Slayers. Maybe not giant Slayers, but... still solid. Anyway, besides, we have Garagrim and Gotrek in here, and that's Slayer enough. Go. The dwarfs plant their oath stones at a crossroads, a defiant gesture to the creatures of Troll Country. The throng will not be moved until the cull has happened. The Dowie will stand firm as wave after wave of monsters are drawn to whatever they think is prey. It will be a long haul, but the purge must happen. Oh, I remember this quest battle. This one's super fun.
It is time for a call, my kin. The creatures of Troll Country are naught but a nuisance. A menace to be laid low. To the Slayers, I say, chant your battle hymns of doom. Fulfill your oaths and seek glory in death. To the rest of the throng, I have studied the pages of the Damaskron and found many entries of trolls, giants, and other fell things attacking dwarfen families, stealing our treasures, and destroying our holds. These creatures are descendants of those perpetrators, and the debt stands with them. Destroy these monsters. Bring them down like rotten algae trees, so we may raid their filthy lairs and reclaim lost heirlooms that belong in Karaz-a-Karak. This is my edict as High King. Kazukhan, Kazakit, ah!
Here we go, man. Once again, I really enjoyed Thorgrim's speech. He makes some very kingly speeches, somewhat long-winded, but great speeches. And yeah, I'm going to very much enjoy this quest. As I recall, it's a pretty difficult one and a really, really fun one as well. In terms of how we're going to do it, we have set up our all of our hammers and our 1 unit of temporary longbeards here. Oh, I gotta remember to put that away into a different army. Anyway, set these up in a sort of dwarfen box, but a dwarfen hexagon, a hexagonal box here with our one engineer that is waiting for his gyrocopter in the center, and then each one of the hammerer units here commanded by a lord or hero. Thorgrim, Garagrim, Thorgrim, Garagrim, Gotrek, and Felix together, of course. Our runesmiths as well. And the reason that we are doing this is because the enemy comes at you from every direction with just tons and tons of trolls and giants. There's more going to come in here, more going to come in here, and we're going to have to try to hold position. I'm going to start the battle off, however, with our gyrocopters. Got a pretty nice Karaz-a-Karak Air Force going now. And of course, Thorgrim being the High King and based in Karaz-a-Karak, he's got to give justice to the Karaz-a-Karak Air Corps. Alright, there we go. Look at all those mini troll hammer torpedoes flying to the blob of trolls, but admittedly, it'll only soften up the target somewhat, as plenty of trolls will make it through the gun line of gyrocopters and into our line of waiting hammerers. And here comes the enemy giant and the enemy lord as well. Thorgrim is out. Look at his speed. The shield breakers are booking it forward quickly with that potion of speed, the bonus acceleration, 63 move speed in the Strider. He's damn quick. He can certainly run down a giant or a troll, no problem at all. And we'll make him quicker yet. Depending on how long this campaign goes for, I mean, I'm still having an absolute blast with this one. I think this is one of my favorite campaigns lately. It's definitely giving me Imric campaign vibes, as grudging I'm sure it is to make a comparison between the between the dwarfs and the elves there. But Imric was also a world-spanning campaign with a lot of fun stuff, a lot of really fun armies and stuff happening all over the place, and yeah, definitely giving me the same kind of vibes. Anyway, looks like the enemy lord has been defeated and is running from Thorgrim. You're not running from that, buddy. Oh, every time I see Thorgrim run, I'm tremendously amused now. Alright, it's still not as amusing as seeing Sigvald run at like 120 speed. I swear I spent half the Archaon campaign just laughing at that. It looks hilarious. But yeah, Thorgrim's pretty up there too, and Greases, of course. Anyway, trolls still coming in droves, and we got more moving in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units, 6 units, and another giant and another lord. In the meantime, we got another giant for Gotrek and Felix to take care of or hold back against, while Thorgrim has found a second or third, I don't even remember, orc war boss to duel in the background. Granted, this means his Rune of Spite is not being applied to these guys, but Rune of Spite is probably not super effective against things like trolls and giants anyway. We'll leave the hammerers and the other heroes to handle it. Also, this has been a really fun formation. I am absolutely loving the way that we've done this particular battle. And frankly, considering the speech that Thorgrim made pre-battle, what is it he said? Plant our banner in the ground, plant our oathstone, something in the ground, and then wait for the enemy to arrive. This is exactly what's happening here. We're in a circle, getting attacked from every side, and the enemy continues to fail to breach. Alrighty, and it looks like with the enemy lord defeated a giant. I believe this giant started at full HP, in fact, has arrived to try to duel Thorgrim, but that has failed, just as the Black Orc big bosses, or the war bosses rather, have failed as well. Still another giant in the fight, still plenty of trolls amongst our various units of hammers, but they're being held back at every location. That's a way more fun way of doing this quest than just killing them all at range, I gotta say. And the limited number of melee units means that, once again, we are always looking outnumbered. Alright, still another troll unit and giant. These ones I think have routed and are now rallying. Another orc war boss has been defeated by Garagrim. Thorgrim has defeated that other orc war boss and the giant and is now giving chase. And it looks like the battle is very nearly ours. We've also, of course, gotten some support from the gyrocopters in this particular battle. But by and large, we've actually been using them to shoot down enemy units that are routing or running so that they don't come back. Which worked out fairly well here. And with that, it looks like the last of the enemy troll units will break. The defeat is near. And this quest battle is done. Very nice. The hexagon held. I wish I could play that again. That was so dang fun. Ah, man, that was a fun fight. The dwarf box, or dwarf hexagon, holding back the piles of trolls and giants with a hero commanding every single one of the individual regiments. That was fantastic. Ah, that was great. Definitely one of the most fun quest battles, in my opinion. And, of course, Thorgrim, while he wasn't, holding back the tide, he defeated 2 enemy lords and a giant all at once, essentially, or somewhere between at once and 1v1s, and that was pretty darn solid too. We're in our own territory, so we think we'll execute and loot once again, and that will give us the buff once again. And so that control will be fixed post-Confederation. Skyhammer Squadron Gyro Bombers are ready to go as well, and we get another Brewmaster, which is good, just doesn't need to be on you, sir. And another Runesmith's Apprentice, and there's the Armor of Skaldour. Alright. And because we've reached rank 30, we will have unlocked the next turn, the final quest for Thorgrim, which, once we have the set, will give us the bonus control, and more importantly, well, actually, now this is only allegiance with dwarfs, which doesn't matter, but it will give him the Great Book of Grudges passive and more upkeep reduction for his army, which is great. Thorgrim's Thundercloud, eh? Decent option to convert it into a Thunderbarge, not necessarily right now, but in a bit, because we want something to give him Siege Attacker. Might actually do that, because it'll be faster than waiting for the gyrocopters with brimstone guns to level up, because they have to become a gyro bomber first, which means they need to be a rank 7. And now, this also means we'll need to get another gyro bomber in here, and in addition, the Skyhammer Squadron, which are earmarked for Thorgrim. Speaking of Thorgrim, you are going to... Do we need to Valea's Will here? And I'll go here. I assume there's 2 stacks here. Might be a good time to start... Ooh. What's the likelihood that they could jump here? I'm gonna say low, right? Maybe I should have put you into ambush stance. Anyway, Thorgrim, you've leveled up to rank 30, which gives us a choice of runes. The Rune of Stone, Rune of Forging, or Rune of Penetrating, so that should giggle. I've got one of those on my... Anyway, the armor-piercing, explosive, and missile damage, however, presumably is kind of useless. And I assume this is... Yeah, that's an augment, so it's specifically for the Lord. Thorgrim has no ranged attack, so this is not great for him. Rune of Forging... Charge resistance and accuracy is wasted, so really the Rune of Stone is the only option, and frankly, at plus 50% mass, that's certainly something Thorgrim wants anyway, so we'll get you the Rune of Stone, sir. Yes. And on top of that, we can upgrade either the hammers or the gyrocopters. I guess we'll start with Honored by Grimnir, a little bit more physical resistance for the hammers, and then we'll go for Dowie firepower as well for our various flyers. And we're nearing the end of the red line, which will mean starting to go into Thorgrim's fighty portion of his tree, and the additional 15 speed offered by Relentless, which will be nice as well. Anyway, that was pretty good. I want to take a look at the legendary grudges here. And just to double check, where's 8 Peaks? Alright, so it's Karagnar and Quinvir, so it is just these 2. Good. I just wanted to check whether we would have to wait until the Confederation happened with Belagar, which we do not, which is also good. Yes, so is it time to declare war upon these guys? I'm a little bit concerned about Queek jumping down here and going after these guys because they're our weakest army, but I suppose we could move Snorri Morgrimmel over there. So frankly, this particular army isn't really necessary against the Scaven because it's a lot of armor piercing. The fire army is going to be better against them. Actually, the armor piercing would probably do well against the Khornate troops, depending on whether Arbol is going for Chaos Warriors or not. It's just that, yeah, we need the Slayers and stuff in here, which we will get in a bit. Anyway, we got a little bit of money on our hands, and I think we still have moves to make, don't we? Unless I'm mistaken. Rearguard Iron Pick, not you. Oh, actually, let's check these guys again for level ups. Yes. Now, that's a question. Do we have anything here that helps you on field? This gives you unit experience, recruit ranks, recruitment cost for units, but it's essentially free to recruit where we currently are anyway, so it doesn't matter. And the rest of this is not useful, meaning we're just going to move towards Inquiring Mind as fast as we can. Out of all these, I guess we're going to get the corruption reduction. Like so, and are you the only rearguard lord that leveled? No, rearguard Helldower did as well, and he will start moving through Mason. New rearguard and all that. Speaking of, double check. No. Okay, and oh, heroes, yes. Well, since we have money now, no more Thane capacity, unfortunately. We have Thugni's Bloodline and Entrenched in Harazi, which is all great. These guys already have Entrenched, so yeah. Alright, before I forget this time, we are going to switch you out of High King's Tribute into Empower the Guilds, as we will need to build this up and then upgrade several things over the course of the next turn. You guys will need to be able to move again, or will be able to move again in a second. In fact, wait, I guess Gromby, we're going to move you now. Could use a few more Iron Breakers with Iron Breakers. Trollhammer Torps, but we can't do so right now. Oh, we'll have to upgrade the Thunderers to the Iron Drakes first. So I guess we'll upgrade these two once these guys are gone, because, once again, anyway. Gromby, you are going to get your unique unit, your Skaldour Guard, like so. And you're still able to move towards Cockatrice Hunting Grounds, which is basically undefended. I do wonder if Scarby is nearby. I don't see him. I wonder where he is. Alrighty, we don't need the extra leadership. Resolve. Let's see. Oh, it's going to badly damage the gyro bombers, which are already badly damaged. Also, quick save. I remembered at that time. Alright, come on now. Let's see if this screws us over. It does not. Oh, we got a Banner of Swiftness. I was going to put that on Gromby anyway. Beautiful. Truly the Ancestor Gods favor two of their sons. And oh, it does. Not only does it crash, but that means we don't get the Banner of Swiftness most likely. I spoke too soon. Because I think it'll change the seed and either we get nothing or a different item. Okay. Another quick redo of that. Alright, I really spoke too soon with that favor of the Ancestor Gods thing, and yeah, we get nothing this time. Well, we get Relic Sword. I'm so annoyed. Anyway, also, you will want another Iron Drake Grudge Settler, most likely. Because you love Iron Drakes, and these are the best Iron Drakes you can get, so yeah, we'll do that. Plus another Gyrocopter Trollhammer, you are going to become his Thunder Barge, and then the rest will be Iron Drakes Trollhammers, and then various other things. I once again don't want to go too heavy on the Iron Drakes with the Flamethrowers, but you know. Anyway, let's see, signature unit and all that. This means that since you're going after Scarby, I'm just going to trust in your army's ability to handle itself, because Grimly, time to move elsewhere. And that elsewhere will be, I mean, granted these guys are probably going to declare war on us shortly. I think we're going to travel through this territory and then jump down to the Khornates. Or possibly after these guys first, because they're kind of weak and nearly dead. Yeah, down to 4 territories. I'll think about it, though the proximity may entice the Khornates into attacking us, but I'm sure Grimly can handle it. He's handled worse. Anyway, March Stance versus... Yeah, March Stance will take us a little bit further. Away you go, bud. Alright, and we're not building anything here because I don't trust the investment in it as yet, though. We will... damn, I was hoping to build the exotic animal tamer before we go. Oh, that also reminds me, Thorik. Empire's getting big. You had construction cost reductions, right? So this is a good time to build stuff with you. Oh, actually it isn't, because Bloodmaw Camp is currently occupied the Western Provinces. I guess next turn. Alright, fair enough. Let's see who else needs to move then. Snorri, you have moved to... Yeah, no, let's stay where you are. Rear guard is good. Brawn is good. Rear guard is good. You. Until you get the additional miners to evolve into other stuff, I guess you're fine. Is this the time to declare war on the Scaven? Ooh, we don't even know if this is Clan Moors. This could be another clan. This could be Verms, or... I'm gonna say Verms? Go here. I want to see what's over there. It is Verms. Alright, well, I'm gonna check this while they will most likely declare war. Well, we could just attack them as well. Oh, this is their lord, isn't it? Yeah, it's by 10 scratch. He's got 5 settlements, and, you know, we need a lot of, oh. We could do this. With Finn. Level up. Yes. Good, Ruinous, good. Alright, fine. I guess this is what we're doing. As to whether we evolve any of these guys, we can't get Quarrelers or Warriors as yet. It's Thunderers we need, because it's our Thunderer army. You could switch to a Grudge Thrower, because we need another cannon. It's probably not able to be cannonified yet, but yeah, it'll probably need to be rank 3, but that's fine. I guess we'll do it for this particular battle. Faster than... That's actually probably not that much faster than building cannons, because we actually have cannon building nearby here somewhere. Here? Yeah. But I guess we could evolve these cannons into organ guns, wherein we have the crew... Well, we have the organ guns available here out of Keratomin's Tomb, which is a little bit further travel. So, might even, after you transfer some stuff, go here, recruit a couple of cannons for this guy's army, because we want it on field and, you know, gun and jerks down fast as it can go. Anyway, I would like to see who you're at war with. You are currently at war with Clan Rickik. Skaven are fighting amongst them. Well, yeah, that's yeah. That's accurate. But if we attack you, Queeky will join us. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because we're going to attack him anyway. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, yep. Fair war. Got our allies to help. Ooh, that's risky. But nonetheless, let's hope none of them break the agreement. None of them broke the agreement. And Queek joined, but that's fine. That's what we were expecting. Alright, close victory casualties low. Still gotta watch out for these guys, and we gotta remember that we can't suffer too many casualties here, but it's time to try out our first Thunderous Grudgerakers. I will also not forget to quick save this time. Frickin' okay. And let's get going. Alright, here we go. We fought orcs, we fought trolls as a sort of separate mini-faction here, and we fought Tzeentchians. We gotta fight some rats. What dwarf episode would be complete without cooking a few Skaven? And we know that Finn Arkandraskelson can deliver. He was one of our early lords, and he had plenty of action up in the north against the Demon Prince, and I'm expecting great things for him here. Still, this should be a pretty tough fight. That's a lot of rats, and they've got plenty of decent elite units to throw at us, in addition to the sheer numbers. Looks like they will wait for our reinforcements to arrive, and we're going to have to be careful, because this is our Grudge Settler army, and we are not quite ready to lose those units, since we have 14 more turns of actually, you know, getting some use out of the army. Gonna reposition them, and, well, just the army, or armies, together. And we're going to take a nice position up on this hill here. Going to put the artillery here where they're somewhat protected and isolated from any enemies that could try to surround them, because I do think that's going to be a fair bit of an issue. This time we're going to put the hammers in front of individual units of miners, like so that they can take the brunt of the enemy charges, as the miners might not have blasting charges in this army yet. But what they do have is, well, what they do have, they're fragile, and I don't want them to get obliterated immediately. Anyway, the battle begins, and of course, Finn is going to be leading our Thunderer, our gun army, our Thunderers and our cannons and stuff. And this is our first unit of cannons, finally, at last, on the field. It's been a long time coming. And they're going to start firing off the cannons, targeting the enemy lord back there, who has, well, not taken a lot of damage thus far. In fact, he's taken no damage thus far. But I think the cannons were just firing at some other random unit until they got in range anyway, so it'll be a little bit. And hopefully, though, the increased accuracy of the dwarfen cannons, as opposed to cannons of other factions, will mean that they do good work. And man, look at the distance here. The grudge throwers are chucking those stones across the entire battlefield. They've got 675 range. And ooh, this is not so good. It looks like the enemy does have a unit of plague claw catapults. Man, this is a lot of rats. And it is moving here, but it is completely protected by this hill. I believe it's actually hidden, or it was hidden. And decent likelihood of is if it can get in range, it'll be able to fire over the hill, completely protecting it from us firing back. Because I think it has a wider, or a higher firing arc than the grudge throwers do. Their firing arc is a little bit maybe too shallow to fire over the hill. We'll see. And besides, it's a lot easier to fire over a hill in front of you than, you know, firing behind the hill. Sort of hull-down tactics for tanks and stuff. Alright, well, anyway, artillery piece, okay, there we go, started to finally focus that enemy Greyseer down, but otherwise we've got stones being chucked at the enemy Storm Vermin and the enemy Plague Monks as best we can. Probably better used on the Storm Vermin, who are looking really bright in this particular map. Yeah, there's kind of a weird sort of interaction with the Scaven corruption and the and this type of lighting where it makes everything crazy, you know, crazy bright. Except in the shadows, where in the shadows everything looks good. All good. Anyway, ooh, it does look like that artillery piece is in range, and the AI, perhaps unknowingly, but doing it nonetheless, is positioned really well here. I tried targeting it with the with our grudge throwers. Unfortunately, they're unable to do so. Oh well, not a big deal. Alrighty, this is also the debut battle of our Thunderers with Grudge Rakers, so we just gotta wait a little bit until the enemy gets in range. And we'll see how these guys do. Oh, and their guns do definitely look different compared to the Thunderers with Drake guns. Alright, enemy is still closing the distance. The Grim Delvers have black shields as well. Nice. Ooh, there we go. Alright, so it looks like the type of fire they do, well, it's colored a little bit differently than the more fiery-looking Drake guns. They seem to fire, I don't know, more volleys or fire faster than the Drake guns do. There's some differences in terms of their damage and other stuff as well. But there's also the fact that these guys are hybrid units, as in if the enemy closes the distance, the Grudge Rakers are able to fight in melee, so we might be able to see that here. For now, the enemy is on the approach. And the shotguns firing into their faces, I imagine, will get more and more effective as the enemy closes the distance. Not that they haven't been reasonably effective so far. Anyway, enemy is going to drop a bit of warp lightning upon us, unfortunately damaging one of our units of Hammer's Grudge Settlers, and we might actually have to back them off unless they take too much damage from that enemy artillery piece. Might even be a good idea to back it off in terms of trying to get it to cross that hill, get a little bit closer to us, generally speaking. As usual, our getting a grudging for that. Our flame cannon doing a good job firing away at the enemy unit, and so far, most of the enemy line has failed to actually close the distance with us. Shotgun's doing plenty of solid area denial as the enemy attempts to approach. Though it looks like they still have plenty of units on the left and right flank. Kind of a typical sort of situation where the center line collapses against a range-focused army, but the right and left flank do not. No, it's alright, we're used to that. Alright, Thunderer is going to help by firing over the heads of our other units as well. These are the regular Thunderers, not the Grudge Settlers, or Grudge Rakers. Everything's Grudge something. And the enemy artillery piece is getting closer. I can start seeing it cresting over that hill, and that's going to be good for us. Don't want to silhouette yourself on a hill like that, because that puts you into a very dangerous position, and now our cannons will be able to start firing away at you. It's time for you to go to work, cannons, and they're solid at artillery duels after all. Enemies still moving in. Grudgerakers still firing. Lots of enemy units have routed and rallied, and we're going to send at least a few of our melee units into the fray. And just so that if the enemy wants to fire its artillery pieces, they fire at them. They fire at their own units as well. But either way, they're going to be fired upon by our unit as soon as the cannons reposition. Still lots and lots of units down here, and smartly, the enemy Gracier has moved down here to a place where it's completely protected by cannon fire, which is why it was originally damaged. Alright. Still keeping the enemy back. It does look like there's a decent blob of enemies here that might be actually make it towards us. Clan Rats and Scaven Slave's gonna charge. Grimdelver is gonna fire away at them. There we go, with the fires of the flame cannon dropping around as well. You gotta admit, dwarf armies are pretty darn entertaining to watch. Alrighty, and the cannons have started to fire. We got 2 of the enemy Plague Claw Catapult artillery pieces destroyed. Sadly, we don't have any gyrocopters here to take care of them for us. But hopefully the cannons can serve for that purpose. And, I mean, obviously, we don't want gyrocopters in every single army, much as I'd like to do so. But you gotta avoid spamming the units that are going to be super effective against everything. And besides, we have several armies, most likely 3 that are going to use them in decent numbers, and a couple that will use them as sort of additional bonus units. As in, we'll have a proper air force with Malachi and with Thorgrim, and a smaller air force with Grimbrindle, and then things like the Brimstone Guns and the Fire Army, which we do already have. Though admittedly it's Malachi that's going to get the proper air force, mostly with regular gyrocopters, because we haven't been using those as yet, have been focusing on all the other gyrocopter and bomber types. So technically we haven't actually used those units at all. Alrighty, and how we doing? Balance power is at about 70% in our favor. The cannons have by and large taken care of that Plague Claw Catapult. Now our Rangers, our Slayers, these Slayers and the Rangers being part of one army are now kind of, you know, living rent-free in my head, and that's why I called the Slayers Rangers. I have looped around the enemy and I'm going to start chasing down the enemy Skaven Slave Slingers and Night Runners, while we have also managed to loop around a unit of Hammerers, which are going to hammer away at the back line of those Clan Rats and Skaven Slaves. Not a good place to be, surrounded by the heavy armor and hammers. And these guys are now stuck. Alrighty. Our Lord, our Demon Slayer, I believe, has also defeated the enemy Lord, or at least got him down to like 10 HP or something like that. 100 HP, whatever. Yes, I know it's 10 times more, but it's barely any HP for a unit, especially an SFO. Alright, and it looks like the battle is nearly ours. I believe a unit of Storm Vermin briefly, that unit, briefly charged the Grim Delvers, who actually fought them in melee for a little bit. But otherwise, most of the enemy units failed to get too close to our Grudgerakers. Gotta remember that while we are able to use the units of melee troops in this particular army for now, eventually the Grudgerakers are going to be the melee units for the shotgun army, or the gun army. And I think they'll serve that purpose well. Alright, and it looks like with that, judging by the sheer number of enemies running, the hordes of Skaven, numberless hordes, not looking so numberless anymore. They're booking it on out of there, and only one enemy unit remains, the unbreakable unit of Plague Monks, who the Hammerers and the Longbeards should be able to tear to shreds. The regular ones, of course, once again, don't have enough armor piercing to work through our Hammerers or through our Longbeards, which is why they were in the front of the army. Better to get really tiny amounts of casualties on the Grudge Settlers as opposed to huge casualties potentially on the, well, you know, Finn's as yet being trained army. Anyway, close victory, really, really great fight. Alrighty, a really, really fun fight. Felt like we were completely surrounded the entire time, which as always is such a blast to play. And the rats always deliver in that regard. And got plenty of kills on the Goblobber. Might as well enjoy them in this army until we switch them out. The cannons didn't do too bad either, and which is great to see because there'll be plenty of cannoning to do. And the Grimdelver's debut saw them kill off a bunch of enemy units, though they were having a little bit of a tough time fighting directly against Storm Vermin in melee, but that kind of makes sense as to the disparity in the types of units. Anyway, a lovely fight. Really enjoyed that fun. Can't wait for this army to come online. And okay, I was worried that one would crash, but it didn't, because then I would have had to fight that fight again. Anyway, well, I guess stay here now, though it remains to be seen whether Queek tries to jump down to the Lost Archway of Valea. Distinct likelihood that there's also armies or an army at Naz Kadrin. If Queek is not too afraid of Thorgrim, they might try to move this way. But if we're moving down to Clan Verms, can't really do too much about that. I wonder if there's any more landmarks in and around this area. I mean, there is Nagashazar, but I think the other similar landmarks, they're not dwarf specific. And hello. Karagazgal. You really shouldn't be holding a key dwarf settlement with an underway network, buddy. I fear you may have to be destroyed for this, which is a shame because we destroyed Exhaustive Neck in the Kai's campaign as well, but it looks like they're not doing super well here anyway. Strength rank 9, 13 settlements, they're actually doing quite well. Maybe if there's some settlements we could trade for. But we'll have to see because, we got a goal here of uniting the Karaz Ankor and working on those legendary grudges of ours. Anyway, folks, with that, I have no idea what the time is because of the crashes, so I'm going to call the episode here under the assumption that we are in a good place. Next episode, we will complete our first legendary grudge of Karak 8 Peaks, which will give us additional grudge settler unit per army capacity, which is great, which we've been wanting. And it'll complete our short victory, which will give us bonus control and, more importantly, hero capacity for all heroes, as we've been hankering for additional engineers. Otherwise, we will continue moving southward, perhaps to get our first fights against Starball. Obviously, the Scaven fights. We are beginning our fight with Skarbrand up north. We are beginning shortly with Grimly our fight against the Norskins and the Karnath Sons Khorne faction there. And Thorik is now online, so we'll probably start on the Kazakh before moving on and starting to fight Kairos, which should be fun as well. Plus, decent likelihood that we confederate Malachi maybe before he dies next. And I guess that should reduce our Slayer upkeep faction-wide, which might help out, at least in some armies. This army is shockingly expensive because of the cost of those goblin heroes. But hey, I've been enjoying them quite a bit, so I'm excited to see more of them. And if anybody knows, please tell me about this thing, because once again, I'm interested to know whether there can be random sort of deeps locations found in anywhere, or whether it has to be... Oh, I can upgrade this. Right, I forgot about you. Okay, I'm glad I looked here. We are obviously going to do the repurposed clan goldsmiths. When settlement income is 5,000 or more... Is it not? Oh, it's only 2.9k in Karaz-a-Karak. But nonetheless, let's get you up and running. Anyway, yeah, I'm curious to see or to know whether that can be found anywhere, or it has to be specifically... Oh, that also reminds me. We probably have a bunch of stuff to upgrade to the next tier, meaning for one turn we may actually want to switch out of High King's Tribute. Because it'll be a significant amount of buildings to be built, meaning... Well, we'll go for Masters of Steel and Stone here, but it means that we won't switch it in any other territory. Oh, I guess if we're switching... Anyway, that might be a good reason to build the... Oh, wait, no, this isn't the basic building. This is the Oath Gold building anyway. Anyway, yeah, I'm just curious whether these can be found in any deeps or whether they are in particular locations or not, because this is really nice. Anyway, more Thorgrim to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. So that's what's inside the mountain. Nothing. Likes and comments below for engagement, threshold, etc., longer episodes. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.